Okay, guys, give me a 5 for 5, and we'll get going here. I know I got started a couple minutes early here, but that's okay. Better being late, right? I hope so, anyway. Hope everybody's having a good weekend. Thanks to everybody that wished my daughter a happy birthday yesterday. We had a pretty good day yesterday. Took the whole family out to dinner and came back here, had a party and all that. So she's 17 now. So yeah, hard to believe. Yeah, man, it's crazy to think that. I got 2 boys that are grown already anyway, but it's different when your last one's growing up, and well, she is grown up now. So anyway, gets to be a little bit hard to handle for the old papa over here. she's just such a great girl. Anyway, let's go ahead and get started, guys. If we're 5 for 5, are we 5 for 5? I didn't even look. Okay, good. Good to see everybody. Everybody, please share it out. I know it's kind of like in the middle of the day, but I wanted to make sure I got this in. We do have some other stuff going on this evening. But with that being said, thanks for being here. Please share it, like, subscribe, all that stuff, all that YouTube stuff. Super chats are turned on if you guys want to support there. I'd appreciate it. You don't have to. Just something that's there now. And again, I'll quit saying that here in probably about a week. I just recently had done that, so just want to make everybody aware that it's there. People were asking me about it over and over and over again. So finally, I went ahead and did it. So it's there. And also, guys, I'm like just a hair away from starting memberships also. Thinking about calling the membership like the Kool-Aid Crew or something like that. We'll go ahead and see what we got with that. I think somebody might have suggested that name to me. I can't remember. But if you guys like that, let me know. And we'll get, we'll do it that way. I think I'm going to have 3 tiers. I'm not going to really go further than that. I might go a 4th tier. I can't remember. But it's there. And I've kept the, the membership price stuff down. I don't, unless somebody really wants to have a big, I just don't know what to give somebody when somebody's going to support at a level like that. I don't know if I have enough to offer to really give somebody that kind of a thing. But I do got some pretty cool stuff lined up and some pretty cool emojis and stuff I'm working on that you guys will get to use and those kinds of things. Also, you guys will get behind the scenes. I'm going to try to be set up for the solar eclipse coming up in April. Believe it or not, guys, there's a lot just to try to get to be able to do that. And it's the first time I've done anything like this also. So I'm not saying I'm going to succeed. I may not even succeed at this. I'm going to try. I'm going to give it my 100, but, I don't want to just go outside and point a phone up in the air. You know what I mean? If I'm going to do it, I'm going to try to do it right. So, just so you know. And thanks everybody again for being here. But yeah, we've had some more eruptions on the sun, but it's interesting because they're all off the south pole of the sun. And also on the backside. That Earth-facing quiet phenomenon thing is actually coming into play here, I think. And also, guys, we wouldn't expect February to be extremely active all month. Okay? But I am going to show you some of the sun cycle today, and we can kind of compare things where we're at by looking at the sun cycle from sun cycle 23 and 24. We can go back further, too. But I'm just going to show you guys a little bit of what's different about this sun cycle. And I think it's interesting. But talking about the sun cycle part, guys, check it out. This is right now what the sun looks like on the left. This is what it looked like back in 2020. Okay, that's during solar minimum. Notice there are absolutely no sunspots. None at all. So when I started doing this, that's pretty much what the sun looked like. Now, the sun still does erupt during solar minimum, okay? And sometimes that can even be more dangerous because we don't have a consistent geomagnetism hanging around because the sun has become less active. I said this a lot. The sun helps protect us from the sun. So if we get a consistent, like just a normal, what I would say normal or ambient condition from the sun, It actually does strengthen our magnetic field a little bit. Maybe not like so-called the strength. It just adds geomagnetism, and it can help just deflect the stuff, okay? And there's a lot of science behind all that, and obviously it would take videos to try to explain that exactly the way they are, and I think you guys would be kind of bored with that if I was to do something like that. I mean, I've researched it enough now for myself that I could probably put something like that together, but it would be extremely long, and it would be, in my opinion, just kind of boring. And I may do it and put it in a playlist, so if somebody wants to see something like that, they can go there. And I am putting together like space weather playlists, okay? Like what is a solar flare, what is a CME, what is a coronal hole, those kinds of things. They're going to be 1 to 2 minute videos, short, sweet, to the point. That way people understand the vocabulary, especially like for the new people when they come here. But yeah, hey Bloomington, what's going on, Daryl? Hey Piper. Hey Ricky. Good to see everybody. But yeah, guys, you know, one of the biggest things you guys can do for me to really help me grow the channel is to share it out. You know, the channel doesn't grow unless we kind of get new people, you know what I'm saying? And that's why, you know, you'll see us use thumbnails that are just kind of a little bit more on the intense side. It's because you got to grab somebody's eye. And I don't clickbait, okay? That's something I won't do. If I say it in my thumbnail, I'm going to talk about it in the video. That's just how it goes. I'm not going to bring you guys here and just be like, completely ignore what I put in the thumbnail. You know, when that happens to me and somebody does that to me, it ticks me off. Because you don't even hear nothing, you know, you'll watch for 45, 50 minutes and then they don't even talk about what was in the thumbnail. It's kind of crazy. But here's the second eruption down here, guys. So let me just kind of zoom in for you a little bit. And I may go over to seeds real quick. Well, no, I'll tell you what. Let's just scroll down here. This is Soho, guys. I'm going to back off a little bit. This is the satellite. Well, it's just easier to show you here. I'm sorry, guys. Give me 1 second. Okay, it's easy to show you here. You see this right here? This is Earth. That's the satellite that we're going to be looking from. Okay? That's Soho. It's 1 million miles closer to the sun than what we are. But it always keeps its eye on the sun. Hey, server girl. So, yeah. Always keeping its eye on the sun, and that's what we get to see. Right? So, let's just show it to you here then, I guess. Let's go back to the 16th. Alright, this is that very dense eruption from the 16th. And this is the one I did my video on the other day, and I called it like a snake-like, I can't remember what I called it. It's kind of, I can't remember exactly what I used. Like a plasma snake slithers away from the sun or something like that. Just kind of played that up a little bit just to have some fun with some words there. But this is that bigger eruption. Guys, this is a very, very dense eruption. Okay, we don't see these all that often. These typically do not come from flares. Okay, not this style of them. This was a filament that lifted off. Okay, yeah, there was probably a flare. I think there was a flare kind of like in the middle of this one. But that wasn't really what caused the density of this eruption. I think there was a filament hanging real close to a flare or to a sunspot. And when it flared, it disrupted the filament enough that erupted out. And that's your CME right there. Now, I couldn't really see it because it's actually behind the limb. In other words, a lot of that was behind the sun. This is the backside eruption. Okay. Now, that's an occulter disc. That's a physical disc on the camera. Okay. And it's from our point of view. It's as if you guys went outside and looked up. It simply is just that. There's not a whole lot more to give you as far as perspective goes on that end of it. But, so let me zoom in here and give you guys just a little bit better of a look. And so whenever you come over here, and if you're going to look at these coronagraphs, that's what these cameras are. They're called coronagraphs. Believe it or not, they use coronagraphs they fire bullets through them, and they can measure speed. Not just bullets, but anything. There's a lot of different things coronagraphs can do, okay? But this is what this does. So when you see this bright show up on the red imaging, you know that that's very dense material. Okay, that's just how the corona, or how this camera picks it up. Okay, now we're going to miss some images here, and that's why, you know, I was just going to show it to you over there on ISWA. But let's go back here. So that was the first one. Okay, now there's the second one. Now, I have to say that if both of those were fired at Earth a day apart from each other like that one, I do absolutely think if we took a direct hit from something that dense moving that fast, I really think that we may see some, you know, some substantial electrical issues. And what I mean by substantial, I mean like maybe some localized power flashes, those kinds of things. I'm not talking like grid down, okay? Because I'm not seeing really anything here that would be like grid down, but I am seeing something here, in my opinion, okay? That could, you know, trip out some alarms, could do all kinds of things. Definitely mess with some satellites. And that's all, you know, under the assumption that the heart of this CME would hit. Two of them back to back. Now I'm going to show you something else I noticed here on this second eruption, because I thought this was interesting. Okay, so as this erupts out, obviously you got a partial halo, which means the energy is kind of sneaking around the whole Coulter disk. That either means it's going away from us or coming towards us. And this one's actually going almost directly south, but it's actually going away from us also. Okay, it's on the backside. This is the backside eruption. So if I keep moving forward here, and as we get past this initial blast, I want you guys to watch over here. It's like the sun just kept ejecting some material and like a ripple effect. So I'm going to just kind of take this slow here. Okay, you see these like ring signatures right here, one right after the other. So if I back that up, you'll be able to see what I'm talking about. And I'm going to play it at full speed. Okay. I'm just going to push start. See how that looks? Okay, we'll let that run back through, and I'll slow it down this time so you guys can see it better. Now watch, right in here. Getting ready to happen. See those, just kind of like, it's like a continuous, like, just ejection of a little bit more plasma than what just normal conditions are. And it seemed to be pretty wide. That was kind of odd to me. You know, I've seen that before, but we don't see that kind of a thing too often. Just all that's telling me is, you know, that was kind of a more of an extended eruption there. And because if that came from a flare back there, we would not see it. We would not see the X-ray from that. Okay? So that means that we couldn't really tell if it was an X flare, an M flare, any of that. Okay, now this dense eruption here is most definitely another plasma filament. Okay, because when we get these big dense ones like this, especially string-like, which is what both of these eruptions were, and I'll pause it. You guys see how bright that is? When you see that bright signature show up, that is very, very dense plasma. Okay. And again, guys, I mean, you can definitely tell that's going to the south, no matter what, at least. And we know that it's going towards back too. And how do I know that? Well, the models have updated on it, and it did show that it was going off the backside. So let me show you the CME tracker. This is NASA's version of the CME tracker, and I don't think it's updated for. I think it updated past that second eruption, so we may not really get to see that one. But you see that little faint signature right there? I think that's where that little ripple thing I was just showing you came from. So that was actually going away from the Earth also. Okay? So, you know, that was a small thing anyway. That wouldn't have been that big of a deal, even if it had hit that part. But I wish I had recorded that CME. That CME, both of these CMEs that happened off the bottom, off the south pole of the sun. And let me take you back over here real quick, okay? And I'll show you what I'm talking about, okay? So I'm going to show you the first one, this one. Okay, there it is. That's the first one I showed you guys in my last video. Okay? So we'll go forward here. And then here we go again. Boom. Okay. So you see how they're very similar. Those are filament eruptions. But they both showed a very similar signature on the tracker, on the CME tracker when it showed. Okay. So let me just kind of go over here. Okay. So this is definitely going to, and I found that interesting too. You got like 3 little similar signatures here. Okay, and again, that filament's probably spiraled a little bit, and that's why you're seeing these types of signatures come off here like that. So let me back that up, and you can kind of see. Does that mean anything at all? No, it doesn't. Okay, it's just something that it just looks that way. Okay, I'm not trying to say that it means anything else. I'm just saying that that's a pretty unique signature, is what I'm trying to say. And as that goes on out, you can see how it's kind of producing those same signatures as it blows out there. And again, that's not coming at us, so I don't even know if that means anything. That's what I'm trying to say. That's just something I noticed. And most likely, it's just the way the camera's picking up the image. Okay, that's really all that means. But you can see why I called this a snake over here. Okay. Because as it goes forward here, and why I found interesting, you can actually see those kind of backward C shapes there too. So, it's just another way to say, hey, yeah, that probably was a plasma release filament. Okay, what's a plasma filament? Well, let's go up here and we'll take a look at it. And I'll show you right here on the 304. Okay, 304 this is SDO. It's the one that's in geosynchronistic orbit. Okay, I'm not going to explain what that is right now. It stays over the same part of our planet. Just know that. And it is from our perspective. Okay, it's always looking at the sun. But it's a lot closer to the Earth. It's in an orbit around the Earth. But anyway, you see these dark shadows? Those are filaments. And they're just, you can really relate them back to an incandescent light bulb. Right? Because that's inside an incandescent light bulb is a filament. When that filament busts, that means your light bulb goes out. Any of us of any kind of age, probably 30 or 40 or and older, we've all grabbed, the light goes out, right? You go over and you unscrew the light bulb, and you hold it up to your ear and you shake it, right? What are you hearing in there when it blows? A lot of people don't know this. It's a little piece of metal that's in the middle of that bulb that has been curled, and when electricity passes through that, it causes resistance, which causes friction, which causes heat and light. There's where your light comes from. Eventually, that little thin piece of wire will get weak because of all that traveling through it all the time, that it blows, it pops, it cracks in half, right? So when you shake it around, you're hearing that little piece of metal. And that's why sometimes you say, well, did the light blow or did the power go out? That's why you shake that light bulb. Now, nowadays with LEDs, you don't get that, right? But you get it with the old incandescent light bulbs. So what we're looking at here, you got right here, that's that second eruption. Okay? And it's a big one. We would have had considerable geomagnetic storming if that would hit us, or if that second one that's the second one, or that first one would have hit. Okay? That would have been significant storming. We would have probably been a G2, G3, maybe even a little higher depending on how it hit. It was just really, really dense, and you could tell just by the visual on the satellite imaging. Now, there's no way to give you a direct density number on it because it didn't hit any of our detectors. It went away from us. Okay? So why am I even talking about something that's not coming at us? Well, because guess what? That part of the sun's going to be rotating back around to face us again. Okay? And that's just what happens. We got to watch them. Now notice over here, that's that big sunspot that was hyperactive. It blew the X-flare over here the other day. And this is that thing, in my opinion, it's probably going to survive all the way through the backside and come back around. Now, I can't say for sure on that, because sometimes you will get a rapid decay. But once this thing passed the Earth's strike zone, it started getting busy again. So in other words, it experienced that Earth-facing quiet. And it started getting active again as it passed. So when it was on the backside, it's been blowing stuff. So that's why I'm still talking about it. Now, the ones that blew off here on the south, I believe came from different areas. So what I'm saying is we have multiple areas on the sun that are active right now. Now, this is the 171, and yeah, it looks a little bit more dramatic because you get to see more of the atmosphere or the corona of the sun. That's just what the 171 part of the light spectrum shows. It's a specific gas, and yes, I still need to look up what the gas is that it's looking at. I keep forgetting to look that up. But it's there just to give us a visual, right? They could give us any color they wanted, but we look at different parts of the light spectrum because we need to look at different gases on the sun because it's going to show us different things, okay? It's going to give us a little bit different of a visual. So like this one, you can't really tell where coronal holes are, right? But if we go down to the purple one, you can see coronal holes better. Watch over here on the left, okay? Because there's a coronal hole over here close to the end. See that? Open up. It's even bigger now. That coronal hole is actually going to rotate through, and we'll probably get some space weather from it. So why does that show up dark? Because the surface of the sun is actually cooler than the atmosphere. And I've talked about that ad nauseum too. They sent the Parker SP probe out there to go into the sun's atmosphere and kiss it. That's what they called it, kissing the sun. And they were able to collect some data to try to figure out why the atmosphere is actually hotter than the surface. It's puzzled scientists for a while. And they got some pretty good data from it. Have they figured it completely out? I don't think so. I think they've got some pretty good ideas now, but yeah. And a lot of it has with what I call like a kickback signature. The energy will actually go into the atmosphere, and because of other reasons, it kind of does like a pinball from the atmosphere to the surface. It kind of bounces around, does all this stuff, and it's creating heat. And I don't know enough about it to go any further than that, so I'm not going to. Because it's something that they don't completely understand yet either. So there's no way I could even look it up and be like, hey guys, this is what we got. But yeah. So we're going to take a look at the 94 angstrom because this will give you like a more concentrated where the sunspot is as they flash, as they flare. Okay. And again, it's just another part of the light spectrum, and it's a different gas that it's looking at. Okay. So we can't see this with our naked eye. And again, guys, they could give us any color they wanted. Okay, so I'm just going to let this play through. You're going to see it just flashing everywhere. See all that? And it's very common, especially when you see a big flash, that you'll see the rest of the sun start flashing too. Why? Well, because it destabilized. All that energy was going on and everything was destabilizing in a magnetic way that it traveled. Because it's all connected. Okay? These filaments themselves are kind of proof of that. It's a magnetic connection line. Basically, it's plasma laying on the surface. So when those filaments start to lift off, okay, that's where we get these big eruptions, these dark shadows right here. And we do have one over here that seems to be lifting off a little bit. So we're going to have to keep an eye on that one too. And I know it's kind of hard to see because the sun is actually camouflaging it a little bit. But if you guys go over here and look at this stuff for yourself, please look for those kinds of things. Look for the dark shadows and all the above there. But yeah. So now let's I'm gonna take you guys over here to the Discover data. Probably gonna have to back that off a little bit. Maybe not. It's taking a minute to. Yeah, it's taking a minute to load there. I do think here in the past few hours that we got hit with some geomagnetic activity. Now, it wasn't anything significant. That's why I'm not talking about it. But you see how the BZ up here, the -6 we look for? The polarity of our magnetic field, the position of it? it started to spread from the BT, and we see this often. And again, I'm not going to go over what the BT is, but we just look for -6. Over here in the Discover chart, when you see this, -6 will show up, and they'll make it purple or blue, whatever color that shows up for you guys, depending on what kind of display you have. I don't know why I did that. Hold on a second. So anyway, as we're looking at this, you can see things start to move. The BZ started moving. The phi angle, which is the polarity of the solar wind. Yes, the solar wind has a polarity. It gets here on a magnetic connection line. That's just what happens. Okay? So that the polarity of it matters. So when that flips, it'll turn blue up here, and the pink will go away, right? And I've shown you guys that multiple times, but the density, the speed, everything started to move at the same time. When that's happening, that means we are most definitely either being impacted from a stealth CME that isn't that powerful, or could be powerful depending on how strong it is, right? It's just, this particular one is not powerful. Okay? The temperature, the speed, everything moved. When that's happening, we were impacted by something. Whether it was a coronal hole, a really weak CME impact, the current sheet, any of that stuff, right? And I know I'm throwing some word salad out there to you, but I've explained those in the past, so I'm not going to explain them today, but I will explain, that's like the current sheet. That's going to be in that playlist I'm making, okay, so people understand, so I don't have to keep repeating it and boring you guys to death. But I do think it bores people when I repeat that 100 times. But I do it because I want the new people to understand what's happening. Okay? So if we go over here and we look at stereo A is actually, from our point of view right now also, it used to be 90 degrees away from us. Okay? It used to be hanging out over here. We don't get that side view anymore. That satellite's hanging around Earth now. It's outlived its life expectancy, and at this point, I'm not quite sure what they're going to do with that satellite. Whether they're just going to kind of let it sit around or if they're going to send it back out. I'm not sure. But you can see another eruption here. That's the same southerly eruption that I showed you on Soho. Because it is virtually from the same perspective. Okay? So let's go back over here to, so yeah. Now, we could sit here and I could show you from the 14th on all these eruptions. Okay, guys? I mean, there was a lot. There's been a lot this past week. Okay? Seeing all these? This is day after day after day of eruptions. So, yeah, take it for what it's worth. That's all I can do is show you what's going on. I can't do much more than that. I wish I, could really be confident in forecasting something, but we can't because it's wrong all the time. Sometimes they get it right. It's just hard to forecast. That's all I'm saying. So, the sun cycle. I've been getting a lot of questions about that. They measure this, and how they measure this is by the sunspot number. Okay, so if there's a sunspot, number of days. Let me explain. They count the number of days that there's at least one sunspot facing Earth. Okay? That's how they do this when they're talking about the sun cycle itself. So if we look at this, the red line was actually the forecasted line. Now, they actually changed that a little bit. It used to be lower. As you can tell, we've not hit that line not one time. Okay, so we're overachieving this sun cycle right now. Okay, we're more active than what was forecasted. Now, is it greatly overreacted? No, it's not. It just simply is elevated more than what they thought. Now, I also have been looking at this myself, and so if I take you guys there, well, let's go. Well, right there. Okay, so you got solar cycle 24. That's the last sun cycle. So you can kind of see what it did, right? That blue line's the average. Okay, that's what was showing you. Okay, so as we look at this, you see how we had more of a soft increase. What I mean by soft, it took us longer to start getting more active. Look at Sun Cycle 25. Look how it just kind of like shot straight up. See that? You see the difference? Okay? And that is the difference. Now also notice that there were 2 peaks. And we will get 2 peaks in this sun cycle. Almost every sun cycle that you see, if you were to go down here and look where my cursor is, you can almost see it without even pushing on that year. You can see 2 peaks. Okay? I think they call that the butterfly something. I can't remember. But you can tell how we increased faster. So, if we go back to 23, what do we got? See how it was a soft increase also? Okay? But if we go back to solar cycle 21, you can see in 22 also, there was a fast increase. Okay? So, we can start comparing and looking for patterns and all that. I'm not going to do that right now, but I wanted to show you guys the difference there, because I do think that this sun cycle is going to overachieve. It already is. Does it mean anything? I don't know. I don't have a crystal ball, guys. And that's what, again, it would just be a simple opinion. I would say yes, we're overachieving. I mean, it's just going to continue that. I do think we're going to hit solar max sooner than later. Just judging by what we see here. Okay? We're already doing that. So our double peak is probably going to be a little bit closer to each other. And if we get to solar maximum quicker, unless history doesn't hold, this sun cycle will probably be a little bit less than 11 years. Because if you increase that, now if we increase and we stay there for a little longer, then yeah, it's going to be roughly about the same. Regardless, it's going to be roughly the same anyway. Roughly 11 years. But this does seem like this sun cycle could end a little quicker than normal. Which would push us up into looking at going towards solar cycle 26. Right? So, anyway, I just wanted to show you guys that. Now, how powerful, if you guys want to see how powerful stuff is, you can come down here and look at the radio flux progression. And it's not going to be an exact thing, but you can definitely see how we've completely overachieved in this. Look at this. It's not even close. What that's telling me is we're getting more activity, intense activity than what they thought. Okay, why do we look at radio flux? Well, the reason why we look at that is it's just how they measure it. And, that's just the unit of measurement that they use for this stuff. So, yeah. It's a 10.7 centimeter radio flux progression. And you guys can look that up and see what that means. IS, ES. Again, I'm not going to go into these details of these definitions of the words. So I do think it bores you guys. It bores me. I like to know what it means. Don't get me wrong. But also, I'm going to show this too. This is the aurora forecast. I haven't shown this to you in a minute. And the reason why is because we haven't had any geomagnetism. So if we start getting hit with things, the aurora is going to, that kind of thing. But, so what I'm going to say here, guys, is the fact that this is NOAA's forecast model. They are saying we're going to catch something here on the 20th. Now, that could be from a small CME, or it could be a coronal hole. I really don't know what this model is seeing here. Now, I could, again, this model itself hasn't updated in, let's see here, 2 days behind. So, yeah, it's late updating. And it probably won't update till tomorrow unless we get a big eruption coming at us. So, what this does is it gives you a historic data two days behind. Then it tries to tell you what this model thinks it's going to do all the way out 5 days from that point. So when this model was updated, it was updated late in the day on the 16th. Okay? So you had 2 days historic data, and then all the other stuff. Hey, D-Quick Paul, thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you for the super chat. Very generous of you, buddy. I really do appreciate that. But I like the little super sticker. That's pretty cool. But yeah, and that brings me, your name right there in itself, and Ricky's in here too, and hey, Stephanie. Earthquakes do increase during all this extra solar activity, guys. Seismic activity happens, and it does increase. It's just a fact. Now, can I show you, and am I intelligent enough to, or have the knowledge to share with you how it does? No, I don't. I've actually been schooled by Ricky, by Ron, by anybody else that we watch, right? But I'm still not comfortable just saying, hey, this is going to do this. What I am comfortable doing is saying, hey, we would expect seismic activity to increase during an increase in space weather. Okay, during, when we get hit with stuff. It's so easy to see when you go look at that. Just the overall increase. That's all I'm talking about. I can't pinpoint it down to a region, this, that, or the other, like a lot of other people can. And a lot of people have gotten really good at it. I can't do that. That's just not part of my skill set at all. That's way above my pay grade. And guess what? I'm not afraid to say that. There's a lot of people out there that won't say that kind of stuff. They want everybody to think that they have all the answers. I don't have all the answers, guys. I'm giving you the answers that I think I have, and I'm reporting on you guys the conditions of which we have them. And, and that's why I waited for this sun cycle thing to talk about for a while. I've talked about this before multiple times, but I've been waiting because I knew that these things were going to continue to collect data, and I would have a more overall report to be able to give you guys. There's a lot of patience that has to be had in what I do here. It's tempting, even to me nowadays. When I see a huge eruption happen, I want to rush right out and show you guys, right? But even recently, like 3 weeks ago, I did that, and it was a mistake. I should have waited, because I got it wrong. And that's what I'm saying. These things take days to get here. What I'm showing you guys takes days to get here. So I just want other people to kind of see that and understand that first off, it's okay to be wrong. Second off, show some patience. Get it as close to right as you can. And, I'm not going to wait till an hour before something happens here at Earth and come out and rush out here. That's not what I'm saying. It takes, on average, 3 days for a CME to get here. I got time to watch the models to see if they update. Why wouldn't I? Unless, listen, guys, if it's a huge thing that there is absolutely no doubt that we need to be taking action in our own little local life, that's going to be the first and only thing I'm going to tell you during that particular upload. Because it may be my last. I'm just being real with you. Okay? So when the big ones hit to the point where we might lose power or get down, that kind of thing, I'll try to get here and let you guys know. But I'm trying to give you guys the tools to be able to see this for yourself. Because I want you guys to be able to take care of what you need to while I'm doing the same for my family during those types of things. Have we had those types of things since I've been doing this? No, we haven't. Are we going to see that while I'm still here on this planet? I don't know. And I don't think anybody else does too. I think we've got some really good ideas. And I think a lot of people are probably really close to it. Okay. But I'm not going to come out here and say that because I cannot be 100%, and I wouldn't want somebody acting on that and then for it not to happen. You're only right one time on the big things. Hear what I'm saying, guys? You're only right one time. Every other time you claim a big thing's going to happen, you're wrong. And the one time that it does happen, nobody's ever going to know that it was you. Because things are going to happen too fast. And people aren't going to care. So please, understand that. There's no reason to just continually move your goalposts down the field. Just be real about it. That's all I'm saying. Hey, Aliyah, good to see you. That's my internet sister. Hey, Aliyah, I actually got a compliment on that pink hat. I wear it almost every day, just so you know. I still wear that boggin. I love it. I was on Aliyah's show. She did a prepper game show. She hasn't done one in quite some time, but she had me on as a guest, and I actually, I guess, won the game, I guess, if you want to say it like that. And she sent me this boggin, and it's a pink boggin. I'll take a picture of it and show it to you guys in my next live stream. But it has a light built into the boggin. You just click the button. But that thing is comfortable. I actually take the light out of it and wear it like that. Pretty cool. I love it. I actually got a compliment on that thing. I ain't afraid to wear pink, by the way, guys. Not afraid at all. So, all right, guys, enough of that rant and stuff. But, guys, yeah, so please go check out everybody. I always say, you know, Marv, Lifeboat, Britt, Trinity, Ilea, everybody, guys. Hey, Joanna. Anybody else that has a channel, Hilly Billy did a great Bible study yesterday. He's doing a lot of stuff too, guys. Brian, there's a lot of people, guys. Just go check out my featured channel list, okay? And I'm adding things there daily, okay? I probably won't put them in my description box anymore. I'm adding a features channel list that is public. You guys can just go down and click on. You'll be able to see the channels I watch. I don't hide my subscription list anyway. You guys can go on there and look at every channel I subscribe to. So, but anyway, guys, I am going to go ahead and pop off here. Thank you again, Deep Quake, for that super chat. I really do appreciate it, guys. Look for memberships to come this week. I'm trying to get them up and going this week. And we're going to have some fun with that, guys. I promise you. Promise you. Also know, though, any content that I've already given here is going to always stay the same. I'm just going to add extra. So, that's how it's going to work. Anyway, guys, God bless. Yahusha saves, and, yeah, you can drink this Kool-Aid.